Okay, so here we're at. We're going to be talking about DEI. I was a person that, um, I was for DEI, but the problem was just the fact that you had certain incidents happening where people were being, how Martin Luther King said you should be judged um, not by your skin color, but the content of your character. What was being backwards when it came to DEI. So let's get into it and why I say that. Talk Radio live in 4K.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little.
This is the fire chief of Los Angeles.
A little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire. You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Now, this is the thing. How do you think I feel knowing I'm a black man and this is a black woman saying this nonsense? How does that reflect the minorities, the black people who work in this profession? When you got people thinking they could say this stuff, she should have been fired. What type of, does this person put you at ease if they were coming to bring you out of a fire or your loved one out of a fire? That's what I'm talking about. The nonsense being said like that. And we'll see who else is, supporting this. Tax evader and fake Reverend Al Sharpton warns Donald Trump that he will boycott any company that doesn't support DEI. He gave people $25 to go on a shop to go shopping at Costco. Let's get into it.
Corporations came forward and said, we're going to do diversity. We're going to do this because race needs to be dealt with. And for Donald Trump to be able to cancel a commitment they made is an outright affront to the black community, brown community.
Here's my thing. You want to stand against Donald Trump, but you're living in Trump Plaza, Trump Tower. I don't get that. How are you fighting against anybody living in one of his buildings at the same time?
LGBTQ gay community and women that they committed to. So that is why we will stand with those that stand with us. Costco's immediately stepped out and said that they will not back off DEI. On last Monday, Martin Luther King holiday, I announced that for 90 days we're going to research.
Martin Luther King set black people back so badly in this country. It's unbelievable.
The company that we find that has made the most affront, we will call a boycott. But today we are calling a buy-in. I have bought 100 people $25 gift tickets. We're going shopping at Costco because they've stood with us. People that stand with us, we will stand with them. People that do not stand with us, let Donald Trump stop us in 90 days from boycotting them. We will not pay to do.
So let's find out more about DEI. Who does it really benefit?
one recipient of DEI are white women. That is according to the U.S. Department of Labor. And others fall under that group, under the minority group, the ethnic minority. Number one recipient under that group are Latino and Hispanic Americans. Number two are Asian Americans. Number three are Native Americans. Number four, individuals with disability. Number five, veterans. Okay? And number six, the LGBTQ plus community. And guess who comes last at receiving DEI benefits? Guess who comes last? That's right, Black Americans. Black people. Let me also say, you can do a Google search and you will see the primary benefactors of DEI programs.
Let's play that again.
One recipient of DEI are white women. That is according to the U.S. Department of Labor. And others fall under that group, under the minority group, the ethnic minority. Number one recipient under that group are Latino and Hispanic Americans. Number two are Asian Americans. Number three are Native Americans. Number four, individuals with disability. Number five, veterans. Okay? And number six, the LGBTQ plus community. And guess who comes last at receiving DEI benefits? Guess who comes last? That's right, Black Americans. Black people. Let me also say, you can do a Google search and you will see the primary benefactors of DEI programs are not only white women, but white male CEOs. Those are the ones who have benefited the most from DEI initiative program.
So this whole time you think you helping Black people, and you're really just serving whites. Okay, it's kind of like, feminism all over again, women's rights movement, and it really just supports white women. Like, damn, that's a slap in the face. That's a hardcore slap in the face. I mean, it's like Black people are always, and it's like the civil rights movement, because Black people are always getting scraps. They're the first to march and the last to get anything. And that has to stop. The cycle has to stop. There has to be a question and thinking like, what was this all for? You have to ask yourself these questions. The civil rights movement, you get civil rights, right? Okay, but you're still getting hanged. You're still getting called the N-word by other minorities and by some LGBT people too, and white people. You got to sit in their restaurants and work in their board meetings, but you're still treated like crap in one way, shape, or form or another. When before this, Blacks had their own stuff. Let's get into this article. White women benefit most from affirmative action. Why do they oppose it? People often associate affirmative action with the efforts to end discrimination for people of color. But scholars say the greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action policies are white women, from college campuses to the American workplace. White women today are more educated and make up a bigger slice of the workforce as a result of decades of affirmative action policies, scholars say. White women have also made inroads into corporate leadership. The people of color and women of color have not. Supreme Court on Thursday struck down affirmative action admissions policies used by Harvard College and the University of North Carolina to build diversity on their campuses. Legal observers say that decision will have a huge consequences for higher education and could have significant ripple effects for corporate diversity programs. Okay. What is affirmative action? Affirmative action refers to efforts to curb discrimination in education, employment, and government contracting. Affirmative action was first used in 1935 in the Wagner Act, a federal law that gave workers the right to start and join unions. John F. Kennedy was the first president to use the term, meaning advancing racial equality. Okay, the term was originally meant to convey that the government should act affirmatively to end race and gender discrimination, but critics have equated affirmative action with racial quotas and preferences that say give unfair advantages to people of color and discriminate against white people. Have white women benefited from affirmative action? Discussion about affirmative action tend to focus on race, but statistics show that it has also been an equalizer for white women in the education and in the workplace. A Labor Department report in 1995 found that since the 1960s, affirmative action had helped 5 million members of minority groups and 6 million women move up in the workplace. When we talk about institutions like higher education, we see that women in general are on par with men, but we have severe underrepresentation of Black, Indigenous, and Latino folks in colleges, and sociologists in colleges and universities, even greater disparities of women of color. Texas A&M sociologist and lawyer Wendy Leo Moore told USA Today, you can make the same analysis when we look at employment. Those are the kinds of things that indicate that are on a structural level that white women have benefited. What does affirmative action data show? In the past 6 decades, women have leapfrogged men in earning 40-year degrees, while Black and Latino students are still underrepresented in college admissions and graduation rates, especially in 4-year colleges. A similar trend has been in the workplace, according to USA Today analysis of named executives at the nation's 100 largest companies. Okay. From 2020 to 2022, white women expanded their share of senior leadership jobs at the rate of women of color, at twice the rate of women of color, though women remained outnumbered 4-1. Despite margin gains among men of color, white women still hold about 2/3 of the top jobs, even though they account for just 1/3 of U.S. workers. Why do most white women oppose affirmative action? If white women benefit from affirmative action, why do they oppose it? Half of Americans do not approve of colleges and universities considering race in admissions. According to recent Pew Research Center report, a majority of white adults disapprove of it too, and about 70% of non-Hispanic white women somewhat or strongly oppose affirmative action, according to 2014 Cooperative Congressional Election Study. White women have also challenged affirmative action policies. In 2016, the Supreme Court ruled against Abigail Fisher, a white student who said the University of Texas denied her admission because of her race. Moore says the opposition is a result of long-running anti-affirmative action campaigns from conservative groups that attack race-based affirmative action, but not gender-based affirmative action. None of that same pressures operating on the basis of gender, she said. The result, significant strides for white women, but not women of color. Because of the way we see women of color as their race before their gender, women of color haven't benefited from it, Moore said. So there you have it. Okay. So I think it's best that, Black people have to really rethink this DEI thing. And also the fact that you also have to see the other side of the coin. Okay. When it comes to DEI, there are Black people fighting for it. And let's just say, I'll let you hear this person talk. Let me put it that way. I'll let this hear this person talk about it. All right.
Y'all all right? I know. It has been a tough week, right? And baby, it's been a tough 2025 and we are still in January. But I know many of you are asking and have asked and sent me messages about the recent DEI announcements at Target as well. And as disheartening as it is for me, I'm not the only one affected by this, right? It's for everyone who
Now she's talking about the boycotting they're having at Target because they are willing to remove DEI.
Is a woman-owned business, minority-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses. It's for so many of us who work so very hard to be placed into retail, to finally be seen and approved for retail. Because contrary to whatever the world might tell you, it has been very hard for Black-owned businesses.
So you can hear why she's against the boycott, right? It's because of money. Let's keep going.
To hit shelves, right? Which is why it's such a big deal when we do finally land inside of retail. So it is definitely heartbreaking to feel unsupported, right? However, I am in business in multiple ways, with Target, with Walmart, and Amazon, right? I sell Donna's Recipe, my hair care products, right? Are on Amazon. They're also in Target. And of course, I have a huge partnership with Target. I sell my seasonings at Walmart. I do business all over, just like many other people. And what I can tell you is, if we all decide to boycott and be like, no, we're not spending no money in these organizations. Listen, I get it. And if that's how you feel, honey, I 1000% get it. But so many of us will be affected, and our sales will drop. Our business will be hurt. And if any of you know business, it doesn't just happen overnight where you can just go take all your stuff and pull it off the shelves. There's a process. And then you got to, like, where you going to put it? You got to have a place to store it. That's money, right? You got to have another place to sell it, which is almost impossible sometimes. And even if you sell online, it's a process when it comes to business. And everyone does not have the funds or the means or the availability, the space to house their own products, right? But the thing that concerns me the most, and I want you to hear me and hear me well, if we all decide to stop supporting said businesses and say, you know, I can't buy nothing from there, even the businesses who were affected by the DEI ban, right? What that does is you take all our sales and they dwindle down. And then those companies get to say, oh, your products are not performing. And they can remove them from the shelves and then put their preferred businesses on the shelves. And then what happens to all the businesses who've worked so hard to get where they are? Then what happens, right? Now, I know that something that could solve it is ownership of these big corporations, right? It's a long way to go there. There are amazing companies like the Village Market in Atlanta, right, who support small businesses, and you can go in there and there's some amazing things that you can buy. But it's one store and it's very small. We're talking about mass market. You can't build that overnight. Do we all sometimes have these big dreams and aspirations to do that? Absolutely, right? But it is easier said than done, but it's not impossible. But until then, and in order to get there, we unfortunately have to play the game. And in playing that game, we got to be smarter than the ones who think they're in control, okay? And I say that to say, don't allow trying to be mindful with how I say this, because I want God to give me the right words, but don't allow foolishness to take us into separation.
Basically, she's fighting for her bottom line and her dreams. And this is where the war starts, where for black people, okay, so we find out DEI is basically, not really benefiting affirmative action, not really benefiting black people. So black people automatically, the automatic thought process is that, okay, we need to go back to segregation. And mind you, this all started with Martin Luther King putting us in a burning house. So basically, people are going to think, well, wait a minute, I'm a black business and I need my dollar. Other people think, like, you got this one right here. Well, I need my money. It took me a long time, blood, sweat, and tears. I really would like to finish my dream. So this is where the divide starts. And this is where you have some people that are perfectly fine with a white supremacist society because they've grown into this system, and I'm not throwing any shade on her, but I understand where she's coming. But at the same time, you have to understand, okay, this is not really helping us. Okay. And I will agree with blacks that will say, you know what, we need to be segregated, have our own businesses, and flourish that way, our own towns. I will agree with that. Years ago, I didn't. Okay. I thought they were just being, just extra and being ignorant and goofy. But then as time went on and I started to accumulate more information, I started to understand, okay, now I see where they're coming from. Now I see why the civil rights movement was actually a hindrance to black people and not a blessing. When you start finding out about communism, JFK's ties into it, the Rothschilds, and then you start understanding what was really at play. A form of slavery, just without chains, but you're forced to be about how they want you to teach history, how they want you to do business, how they want you to be a part of their power structure. Yet every other group has their own neighborhoods and they do business within those neighborhoods. Okay, so let's look at the reactions of people who watch Tabitha Brown's video, what she thinks about this. Hey, these are business people, and business people, really don't want to go back to that 9 to 5. Here's one person's reaction to it.
I am not going to hold you. I'm going to say what I need to say, then I'm going to jump off here because I've got somewhere to be. Have you ever been friends with someone who invited you to a party and you thought, I'm not sure, because you asked who was going to be there and they told you the guest list and you knew that those people didn't like you? You knew it. Maybe nothing was said, or maybe you all had words, but you knew that the other people in the party did not blank with you. You knew that. But instead, you allowed that friend to convince you to come to that party because they were going to be there and it was cool. So against your better judgment, you went to this party. And when you got there, your intuition that you had ignored was spot on. The vibe was all the way off. You didn't want to leave the room because you knew when you left the room, they were going to be talking about you, kikiing, ha-ha, sending little side glances, sending little signals across the room. You knew that those people did not like you and that you were not welcome. But instead, you ignored your own intuition and good sense because your friend told you they were going to be there and it was cool. That's exactly what's happening with the Target and Tabitha Brown. Now, I respect Tabitha Brown to the ends of the earth. I like her style. I like her personality. I like her story. I also understand that Target does not want us there. They don't value us. They don't like us. And they've told us and they've shown us. We've given them free advertisement. We've told other people where we got things when we were in there. I see videos where you all show your Target hauls. You all done it up for Target. And yet Target has said, we don't like you, we don't value you, and we don't have to have your business. So I'm going to ask you, why would you still go to a place that has told you, shown you that they don't want your business?
She got a point. She got a point. All right. Once again, why be in a place where the law, forces you to integrate with these people, and these people that you're forced to integrate with, they don't like you. All right. Here's another person that brought out something that pretty much reinforced what I was saying.
Oh, y'all. Thank you. So, okay. First, I'm going to say, just please tell me how you feel in the comments. There's no right or wrong answer, baby. It's your feelings. But let's get into this Tabitha Brown situation. I've been seeing so many people talk about this Tabitha Brown situation, and they was like, how is you cool? Is you cool? So I had to listen to Mrs. Tabitha video. I listened to the video like 5 times because I'm trying to figure out what's in her goddamn contract, baby, and how much money is on this table. Now it's starting to make sense. Baby, back in 2023, Tabitha has a permanent.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Some black people are going to pick sides when it comes to the money that they're making in a white supremacist society. Okay? Like I'm, some people will be okay with white supremacy, like I just said.
Partnership with Target. She don't want you to boycott, baby, so no telling what type of contract she got. But y'all just tell me what y'all think. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna put it like this. Y'all not gonna stop shopping at these places. All this shit is just for some views to y'all, because I really feel like y'all not gonna stand on business because y'all still buying designer. Yeah. And when I tell you this woman collect,
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a war. It has to be a war. It may not be a fist fight, but it's gonna be a price with your wallet. Like you say for like Timberland, right? Say for example, okay, Timberland. I'll be guilty of this. I like Timberland, but the history behind the Timberland boot is something that is very dark. Okay. All right. The tree emblem in the Timberland. Okay. That was made of a man, the owner of the Timberland company. His ancestors used to hang black people from that very same tree, from that tree. And that was his inspiration for the logo. He was on Oprah. And when he talked about it, they pulled that episode. I don't know if you could find it on the Wayback Machine, but they pulled that episode. Okay. So if you really want to, stick it to white supremacy, you really going to have to, you're going to have to stop buying your favorite Timberland or Adidas. Adidas was owned by Nazis. See what I mean?
Election, everything that she come out with is like genius. I'm like, oh my God, like, look at this cutting board. And it's crazy how folks saying, they ain't got nothing to do with us. This is not going to affect us. It's like, do y'all know how long we had to fight for people discriminating against us in the workplace because we had a fucking afro? Or we want to wear braids, if we want to have locks, if we want to have another color in our hair. We couldn't even do that. I remember when companies wouldn't even hire our black women.
Okay, color in the hair is a little extra. Okay, unless you got a white girl working there and she got colors in her hair. Fair is fair.
Because they had an afro, because they wore their natural hair. I'm gonna tell you something. I know for sure Tabitha Brown money long. Do you hear me? I'm gonna put it like this. If Canvas Beauty can do it, I know Tabitha Brown can. There's no way I would have made a video and said, y'all just go buy my shit. You know what I'm saying? They got a little percentage too, but, support me. And then y'all cannot do it anymore. You don't got to go back after you supported me. Because if it was me, and I know that my sisters and brothers got to go in this store and purchase my stuff, I wouldn't even want them to go somewhere where they're going to be discriminated against. So they're going to secret shop, going to be following them all through the damn store because they trying to go in there and get some Tabitha Brown.
That's easy for you to say that. But the thing is, like, have you struggled like Tabitha Brown? Have you put in blood, sweat, and tears and hours like Tabitha Brown? That is something you have to really get through your skull. Because if you haven't, can you really be like that and say, look, it's easy to say, let me put it that way. It's easy to say, well, yeah, I would have, I would tell them not to come here. Okay, but all that struggling and you're not going to get a profit out of it. I see both sides here.
If I would Tabitha Brown, I would have said, take all my shit off the motherfucking market. I don't put my shit on no website, nothing. I sell my own shit. I honestly feel like Target had that woman to sign a contract that it's going to be hard for her to get out of. For her to tell us, the consumer, that we should go into a place where they might not hire my daughter because she wearing natural hair. Y'all know them folks don't like them froze. They don't want you to come work with no fucking afro. Y'all know this, right? If I would Tabitha Brown, I would have clearly said, hey, Target, y'all can take my shit off here. I put my own shit on I create my own website. They gonna treat Tabitha like they treated Kanye West. They still gonna use your shit. And no telling what's in that country, they probably still use her motherfucking name. Y'all the same black people that say, we ain't gonna go outside, we gonna support black business. But then again, y'all always gotta say something about black businesses' prices. That's why black businesses don't last a long time, because y'all gonna complain about the prices. So are y'all gonna stop shopping at Target? Hell no. Y'all ain't gonna stop shopping at Walmart? Hell no. Y'all ain't finna stop shopping in these places.
Is she wrong to say that? I don't think so. I just don't think so. Because black people are not going to. Hold on one second. Yeah. A lot of black people are willing to fight. They're not willing to go back. They're not willing to really fight. Okay? They're not willing to really tough it out. Okay? Because it's going to be really blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifices. And they don't want to do that. It's easy to talk about it. It's easy to believe MLK was a civil rights leader. It's easier to believe that and to believe the lie than to actually fight for literal truth. All right? Because truth, to stand for it, comes at a cost. And the cost is not cheap. It's not for the faint of heart. Okay? So now we're going to be moving on to Trump's modification of food stamps. Okay? There's actually a freeze on it right now, but he actually made some modifications on it.
Some breaking news. This is some breaking news that shocked the hell out of me. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see this one coming. While the media is talking about all the antics, they're not talking about the fact that the Trump administration just paused food stamps for every single American who receives them for 90 days. Food stamps and all emergency assistance has now been paused. On Monday, the Office of Management and Budget ordered all federal agencies to temporarily suspend payments for grants, loans, and other forms of financial assistance. And this freeze affects domestic programs like SNAP food aid, early childhood programs, and housing assistance. And it's for 90 days, during which time the administration will review existing programs. And this pause will also impact refugee resettlement programs, including those that are assisting Afghans with special immigration visas. It's going to impact the clean water projects that we have for infants. It's going to impact assisting Afghans with special immigration visas. It's going to impact the clean water projects that we have for infants. It's going to impact the basic education for children. It's going to impact anti-trafficking initiatives for girls. It's going to impact medical distribution for children and others with diseases that are being supported and offset by governmental assistance. All of that is what's being impacted by this pause. That's what we're taking care of. That's what we're taking care of right now during the second week of the Trump administration, because this is where we are. I know that there will be times when the Trump administration will do something that shocks me, that I did not see coming, that I didn't expect. It's going to happen. But a lot of things that are coming, a lot of things that I've seen are things that I knew would happen because I read Project 2025 from start to finish. But this one, I didn't think he would do it.
All right, so let's get into these modifications. All right. Here it is. As Trump's nominees back SNAP and Medicaid work requirements, report shows harms. They did not reliably increase employment, but they do kick people off essential benefits like food assistance and health care, said expert at the Economic Policy Institute. Okay. After nominees for U.S. President Donald Trump's cabinet this week endorsed work requirements for social safety net programs, an economic think tank released a Friday report detailing the policy's drawbacks. Work requirements for safety net programs are a punitive solution that solve no real problem, said the Economic Policy Institute economist and report author Hillary Wething in a statement about her new publication. They do not reliably increase employment, but they do kick people off essential benefits like food assistance and health care, she stressed. If policymakers are generally concerned about improving access to work, they should support policies like affordable child and elderly care. Okay. The existing safety net is too stingy and tilts towards hard making benefits difficult to access. EPI report explains that recently congressional Republicans, who now have a majority in both chambers, have embraced proposals to ratchet up work requirements as conditions for the recipient of some federal government benefits. These proposals are clearly trying to exploit a vague but pervasive sense that some recipients of public support are gaming the system to get benefits that they do not need, as they could be earning money in the labor market to support themselves instead. Well, I hate to say it, but that is true. You have, let's say, single moms, doing things to gain the system. Not all of them, but some of them on public assistance are doing things to gain the system. Okay. You have people who claim mental disability and they don't have a mental disability to gain the system. Okay. However, a careful assessment of current state of public benefit programs demonstrates that almost none of the alleged benefits of ratcheting up work requirements are economically significant, but that the potential costs of doing this could be large and fall under the most economic vulnerable, document states. The most targeted programs for more stringent work requirements are the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, popularly referred to as food stamps, and Medicaid, the health insurance program for low-income people. The EPI has surveyed the research's literature on work requirements and how they interact with these two programs in particular. And we find that the existing safety net is too stingy and tilts toward making benefits difficult to access. The report continues, tightening eligibility by increasing work requirements for these programs will make this problem even worse, with no tangible benefit in the form of higher levels of employment among low-income adults. You see, you have this, the problem is like you have people who are on public assistance like to the day they die. It's a stepping stone. It's not something a public residence. There are people who need this, and they can't get it because you're on it. Okay, that's the problem here. Withing found that work requirements generally target non-elderly adults without documented disabilities who don't have official dependents living in their homes, formerly called able-bodied adults without dependents. While able-bodied adults without dependents might not have documented disabilities that result in benefit receipt or have dependent children living at home full-time, they often experience health challenges and must take on some caregiving duties, each of which could provide a genuine barrier to finding steady work. The report says we find that 21% reported having a disability that affects their ability to find and sustain work, suggesting that adults with genuine health barriers are being swept up in overly stringent work requirements. Additionally, 13.8% of able-bodied ABOWADs live with an adult over the age of 65 in their household, suggesting that many are potentially caregivers in some form and likely have caregiving responsibilities beyond what is captured on paper. The document notes, despite ABOWADs having health challenges and caregiving responsibilities that make participation in the labor market difficult, our current social safety net does very little to support these adults. The publication highlights that low-income adults generally face steep labor market challenges, making it difficult to meet work requirements, including the low-wage work is precarious, making work time hard to maintain. The report also emphasized that by making the process for applying for crucial safety net programs more burdensome, work requirements effectively function like a cut to programs, and the consequences of losing access to SNAP and Medicaid for low-income adults are severe, often resulting in food and health insecurity. All right. I'll leave the link in the description. I'll leave the link in the description box or in the comment section so you could read the rest of the document. So basically, you do have people who, don't want to work and they just want to live off the system. So I do understand why there had to be some modifications to it. Okay. And working a low wage job. How long? You got to ask a question. These are questions I ask that people will get offended by who are probably on the left, but you have to ask these questions. You cannot expect to be getting higher and higher wages for flipping burgers. I could understand getting higher wages for let's say you're a medical assistant, security guard. If you're working in a dangerous job, a dangerous part of security, okay. Working at a campus, dealing with students who may have relationships, and there's a stalker. A college student may break up with one college student. The other college student who got broken up may not take the news pretty well, and then wants to stalk the girl, and vice versa. You know what I'm talking about. You may have something like maybe the Palestine-Israel situation, and now you have people both sides want to protest at the college. I can understand having a higher wage for that because those protests could get out of hand and someone's life could get taken or harmed, mainly the security guard. I could understand that. Okay. With other jobs, I don't know, not so much. Okay. So people will have to take advantage of going back to school or going into a trade. All right. That's the thing. And slowly, the government, that's the thing about living on these programs. The government will, the right president or he just passes an executive order, it could go away in a blink of an eye. This is why it's not good to live on these programs till you die. You have to get off these programs. It's good for a stepping stone. You need to get back on your feet, but you can't stay on this forever. All right. All right. Now we're going to talk about immigration and these the vice raids in Newark, New Jersey. Let's get into that. Fair use.
The Trump administration promised mass deportations, and while we haven't seen that yet, we are seeing a larger crackdown on illegal immigration, including a raid at the Ocean Seafood Depot in Newark. That's where several people were taken into custody. Let's get right to Good Day's Briella Tomasetti. She is live outside that fish market with more. Briella, good morning.
Good morning, Deshani. A lot of people wondering what exactly happened here, and Mayor Ross Baraka plans to update the public later this morning. Immigration advocates and local elected officials will be among those in attendance. Baraka said this was a warrantless raid that violated the Fourth Amendment. Immigration advocates in Newark allege that federal agents descended on Ocean Seafood Depot here on Adams Street at around 11:30 yesterday morning without a warrant and demanded to see workers' documents. Officials initially rounded up a total of 8 people, 4 women, all of whom were mothers, and 4 men. According to Rafael Chavez with New Labor, a New Jersey-based organization that represents immigrant workers, all 4 women showed their IDs. He says ICE agents took their fingerprints and gave them slips to appear in court next month. 3 of the men allegedly had no documentation and were detained. The 4th was an American citizen and released. Chavez giving us his account of what happened.
7 members of ICE come out, and I see they went to different cars, and it just look like a regular cars. We need to educate also the managers or the owners of the small business how can defend their workers in the workplace.
Mayor Ross Baraka put out a statement in response to the raid, saying U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents raided a local establishment in the city of Newark, detaining undocumented residents as well as citizens without producing a warrant. One of the detainees is a U.S. military veteran who suffered the indignity of having the legitimacy of his military documentation questioned. When it comes to the promise of mass deportations, President Trump says he'll focus on violent criminals first, like sex offenders, gang members, and drug cartels. But Border Czar Tom Homan stressed that anyone living here illegally could very well get a visit from federal agents. ICE released an update yesterday saying that so far the Trump administration has arrested 538 illegal migrants and issued 373 detainers. Raids were reportedly carried out in several states, including Denver, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Seattle, and Miami.
People will get offended about it, but you know, you got to understand that not everybody here, I mean, you're coming here illegally. You're coming here illegally. And people have died because they were killed by an illegal migrant. All right. People are going to get fed up. It has to stop. And many people get mad about that. They get upset. But the reality is that how would you feel when they come to your door? Okay, these illegals want to break into your house. All right. In Colorado, they got a gang from, Venezuela took over a whole apartment complex. A whole apartment complex. I mean, what do you want to say? Let me show you about how these illegals, what they feel. Okay, how they feel about you Americans. This is one of them.
Existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla.
Venezuelan national Leonel Moreno said that anyone can seize abandoned and disrepaired homes and lay claim to it, thereby greatly simplifying adverse possession laws. Moreno said he's...
Now, what if a gang, a heavily organized, disciplined cartel wants to come to the United States and start listening to this man, Moreno, talk about this? What if they wanted to start human trafficking, kidnapping, and that, they have tried to do that. A couple of months ago, last year, okay, immigrants with a machine gun right across from a school. Right across from a school. These people are sick. Okay, you bleeding heart liberals, I'm not on Trump's side. Okay, but I'm into balance here. Illegal immigration, okay. This is a problem. You either get them citizenship or they got to go back. Another thing is we have to fix is the fact that there's no real checking these people. There's no vetting process. They're coming over here with diseases. They're coming over here. There's no background check. Nothing at the border. We got terrorist cells coming through the border, going to New York and other states. That's the problem I can't stand with the Democrat side. You want to be for the liberals, no matter, you want to be for the migrants, even if they're legal or illegal. And until they start harming your community, then you change your mind. And that happened to somebody. She was a mother of 2 kids, all gung-ho for illegals until they came into her backyard and beat her in front of her 2 daughters. Then she started changing her tune.
He's thinking about making it his business and encouraged his fellow migrants to occupy empty houses.
Y es la única manera que tenemos para no vivir en la calle y no ser una carga pública.
His advice did not go over well with the viewers. As many predicted, Moreno and his followers would meet the Second Amendment.
I immediately run to the comments when I seen that video, man. Let's see how America feels about it. Come here and you meet my AK-47. I'm waiting. I can burn my own property. Come to a small town, you smug, and see what will happen. And TikTok is allowing this. Well, I don't know what you expect TikTok to do about that. My rats, these Rottweilers, will rip them apart. Like America has spoken, and they is not feeling that now. Unfortunately, what people are not realizing is that these migrants, these illegal immigrants, man, they're educating themselves with the laws. So everything that they're doing is completely and totally legal, unfortunately. Americans need to start putting pressure on the politicians, man, to start changing them squatter laws, because the fact that that's even a thing in America blows my mind. It blows my mind.
And that's the thing. The politicians are the one to blame. You know why? Because they benefit from these illegals coming over here. Your construction companies, the construction industry is made up, a bulk of it is made up of illegal immigrants. Okay. The landscaping, illegal immigrants. The cheap work at these restaurants, illegal immigrants. Young teenagers bartending at the butcher shops, taking giant electric saws and cutting beef. All right. There's a lot of money that was being made. Okay. Republican and Democrat. Okay. You do some digging, you'll see some stuff about Trump and these illegal migrants and making laws and how he didn't want to really touch it, because there are billionaires and Republicans who are making money hand over fist. Who do you think's working with these coyotes, these rich ranchers, these farmers? They want these illegals here. But when Trump come around, oh, we got, yeah, I agree with Trump, but I'm hoping he'll let us keep some of them because we need them for farming. You didn't think about that? Then you got some Republicans who are pretty much not using their brain. There's already reports saying that if this keeps up, we may not have any food by next week, possibly by next week. People are not really thinking this through. This country, the government and the politicians have abused these illegal migrants. And now they're a big problem now. You've let it be this way. And they're a huge problem now. So you either going to pay Americans a living wage or a suitable wage for a teenager to work those fields, or you're going to keep these illegals here. You're going to find a way to reform, find a way to make them legal. All right. Kick out all the criminals. Kick out all the illegal migrants that are criminals, cartel members, and keep the ones here that want to work. Because I see both sides of this. And because of the greed, this is what American people are suffering now, the citizens. All right. And because of that, you got these migrants talking out their face to Americans. Talking all crazy. Even one saying, you know, one second. I'll show this one right here. Hold on. No, I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to show it. You can look it up. A black, Chicago migrant, illegal migrant saying to a black woman, no reparations for you, no money for you. Migrant. And that's another thing. You got these people in politics who are not American born. All right. And they're making policies and laws that are kicking black people to the curb in LA. All right. These Latinos, a lot of them do not like black people. They don't care. All right. They just don't care. And I'll show you because they feel very, very entitled. Remember that guy, Marino, that I showed you? I'll show you more clips of him. This one is him crying right now. He's crying now. Oh, he's crying. Here he is. Oh, he's crying because he got caught.
Mi familia va a quedar sola en Estados Unidos, ay, Dios mío, pueblo venezolano.
I did a live stream on this dude before last year. He doesn't work. He's completely a government parasite. All right. Now he's mad. Good news is he lost his accounts in immigration and has put warrants on him. And immigration has put warrants on him. Venezuelan national Leonel Moreno, who appears live in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, said in a recent video that under U.S. law, if a house is not inhabited, we can seize it. Now he's crying. Now he's crying.
Póngase la mano a la obra.
He's not sorry because you wouldn't put your daughter in the damn video, putting her life at risk.
En la unión está la fuerza.
Disgusting. That's disgusting. Do better, Marino. Do better. All right. So, well, let's remember when I said the Spanish community does not like black people. Let's get into this story right here. How the Venezuelan migrants got at it with Haitians in Mexico.
The Venezuelan migrants are going at it with the Haitian people. And guess where, man? In Mexico. I didn't even know they was down there in Mexico, man. So apparently, man, the Haitians are down there, right? And they're doing whatever they can do, man, to earn an honest living. You know what I'm saying? And the Venezuelans are doing what the Venezuelans do, which is pretty much beg and then get mad at you when you don't give them money. Yeah, that's what's happening down there, man. These people are offending and disrespecting the Mexican people for not giving them money. I'm like, man, they gotta be careful, man. That ain't the States, man. They better not go down there and play with them, man. They're gonna fucking offend, disrespect the wrong person. That person gonna have some cartel vibes, man. And you know what I'm saying? They're gonna quickly find out they're not in America. But that's insane, bro. That everywhere these people go, I'm reading like all sorts of stories from people from like South America, from neighboring countries, and they say that once those people like come to the country, it's just the same story over and over and over again. I'm like, damn, I've never seen a group of people, man, where it's the same story everywhere they go. That's crazy. Like, it's just crazy to me. Like, why are they teaching in the Venezuelan schools, man, how to be entitled 101? Like, it's just crazy the way these people feel like they should be taken care of just because they exist. Like, they don't want to lift a finger, man, and then they get angry when you don't. I've never seen that type of entitlement.
Yeah. That's what it is with some of these migrants. They come over here, they want you to cook food the way they want it, and they will demand food from you. They demand their stuff. They demand housing. It's crazy. It's insane. And you wonder why Americans want them gone. You got Americans who are hip to the game. It's like, yo, we want these people out of here. All right. So let's talk about the Colombian president and his response to Donald Trump.
Coming out of this all-day ordeal of back and forth with Colombia's president, President Donald Trump, tariffs here, tariffs there. This is breaking right now. Statement from the press secretary. The government of Colombia has agreed to all of President Trump's terms, including the unrestricted acceptance of all illegal aliens, not just the criminal ones, from Colombia returned from the United States, including on U.S. military aircraft without limitation or delay. So as of right now, it looks like Colombia's president has given in and says, yes, we will take back our nationals, regardless of criminal status or not. If they are there illegally, we will take them back. So as of right now, it's looking like the tariffs won't go into effect. There was reports that Republican legislators were going to draw up sanctions tomorrow, Monday, once they came back to Congress. But as of right now, President Trump says that no tariffs, nothing will go really into effect so long as Colombia's president upkeeps what he has just said right now. So it's looking like it's all over, and yeah, it was his first real trial as president.
And that's the thing. And the president of Colombia is like, why are you bringing them in the U.S. in a military aircraft like criminals? The fact of the matter is, should he tie up commercial airlines with this, having a bunch of illegal migrants come on the train, criminal, come on the plane, criminal, or just a regular illegal immigrant with other U.S. citizens? That would be chaos. You can't do that. The thing is, what I don't understand about some of these countries and these people, you want America to bend over backwards for you. But if American was to go over to your country, you have rules and laws, and before we even step foot in your country, there's a proper vetting system. So why are you asking America to do something you wouldn't do for a foreigner? That's what I'd like to know. Why would you ask these things? The entitlement is pretty disgusting at this point. Oh, so you're with Trump? No, I'm with common sense at this point. It's just common sense. I don't have to be with either political party to see that every country needs borders. Every country needs rules and regulations and a vetting process before you let foreigners into your country. This is not rocket science. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. And I hate those stupid signs that everybody here is an illegal immigrant. That's great, but do you want to sleep with one eye open every night? Because the Border Patrol doesn't do their patrol of the border. Do you want to walk around with a head on your swivel? With walk around with your head on a swivel? Do you want to have that? Hmm? That is pretty. I mean, common sense here, but unfortunately, common sense is not common. Now let's talk about Trump dealing with the LA California forest fire. Let's talk about that right now.
There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. Little things like water. You know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Sorry to say, but he's right. He's right. Why do you have to even have this conversation? This should have been handled all by yourselves. You really should have. Why? You should have had water on standby. You should have fresh water on standby. All the equipment ready. You got Karen Bass wants to go to Ghana instead of be there and handle this situation, which you are sworn to handle these situations. Okay. But we all know this was basically a land grab. We all know that. Okay. Building 15-minute cities in this place, California. They revoked all insurance, homeowner insurance. Did you know that? I said that in my last video. You gotta look for it. We're talking about the California fires. It's really just nonsense, but there's a deeper, sinister plan here. And I just think this is just an act, because in all reality, this should not even have to be discussed. You should have had water. Everything should have been ready. And you should have been ready to go and take out this fire. Plus, you got people setting these fires. Who are these people? Questions, a lot of questions. When it comes to this. All right. So that is basically it for now. Oh, yes. Let's talk about these J6ers. Second. 1 minute.
A J6er that was just A J6er that was just pardoned by Donald Trump had their last run-in ever with law enforcement on Sunday. Now, this is Matthew Huddle, who was pulled over by Jasper County Police in what should have been a routine traffic stop, a very simple encounter. But apparently Matthew must have been empowered by the recent pardon by Donald Trump and all the talk of how he was a victim, because he decided he wasn't getting a ticket that day and got into a scuffle with the police officer, and the police officer ended the scuffle permanently. And now MAGA is in an uproar. They want body cam footage. They want an investigation. They think the whole thing was a setup. And I ask why. He showed you who he was. He showed you what he was capable of, his level of respect for law enforcement on January 6th when he was part of the group that stormed the Capitol. This is who he was. And sadly, he is not the first, nor will he be the last person that was pardoned from J6 that has had another run-in with law enforcement. Now, I feel bad for his family. They did nothing to deserve this. But this is who he was, and this should not be unacceptable.
All right. Sorry about that. Let me play that again. Gosh.
A J6er that was just pardoned by Donald Trump had their last run-in ever with law enforcement on Sunday. Now, this is Matthew Huddle, who was pulled over by Jasper County Police in what should have been a routine traffic stop, a very simple encounter. But apparently Matthew must have been empowered by the recent pardon by Donald Trump and all the talk of how he was a victim, because he decided he wasn't getting a ticket that day and got into a scuffle with the police officer, and the police officer ended the scuffle permanently. And now MAGA is in an uproar. They want body cam footage. They want an investigation. They think the whole thing was a setup. And I ask why. He showed you who he was. He showed you what he was capable of, his level of respect for law enforcement on January 6th when he was part of the group that stormed the Capitol. This is who he was. And sadly, he is not the first, nor will he be the last person that was pardoned from J6 that has had another run-in with law enforcement. Now, I feel bad for his family. They did nothing to deserve this. But this is who he was, and this should not be unexpected.
He was in jail from January 2020 to January 2025. That's like what, 5 years? A lot could happen to you in prison. And plus you having this insane infatuation with Trump, that Trump was the savior of America, your twisted version of America. And he felt entitled. And these are the people that Trump wants around him, people who are yes men, who worship him, and who are criminals. Releasing them is a slap in the face to those officers who died or who were maimed during that Capitol riot. This is the guy that's supposed to be for law and order. The guy who turned a mob on his vice president at the time, Mike Pence, saying, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence." This is the craziness that is going on. All right. This is the garbage that is in MAGA. You have Elon Musk doing a Nazi salute. You have Trump saying that he admired Hitler's soldiers, saying that Hitler did a lot of good things. It's going to be a very interesting 4 years. Very interesting 4 years. All right. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Later.